Okay, thanks everyone for joining us today. I appreciate you being here late on a Thursday. I will admit I did not think there would be this many people here. And so if you fall asleep during the session, that's on me or my friend Manpreet. So we're gonna try and keep this lively. I'm gonna try and go through some slides, turn it over to my colleague. He's gonna go through some slides in a video. And then we're going to open it up to questions because I do want to make sure that there is some interactivity in here to keep you awake. I know many of us have planes tonight or tomorrow morning early, and we don't want to bore you with slides. So what we're here to talk about today is how to build and deploy responsible Copilot agents. My name is Wiedower. I work for Cognizant. I lead our internal Copilot efforts. My colleague Manpreet helps deliver many of the lessons we learned at our clients. So we're going to talk about two sides of the coin, how we did it internally and how we do it for our customers. To start with, this is a session about responsible AI, and it's important to level set what that means. Obviously, there are compliance concerns, risk concerns. There's an innovation aspect to this, because if you get it wrong, if you're not doing this the correct way, you're not going to be able to expand your use of AI. And so making sure that you're deploying AI in a responsible way is not only good ethically, but it's good for your business. And so it's important to know how you do that and how we did it internally. We wouldn't be here if we didn't do it. So I think to level set, lots of us know this already. There's a huge amount of regulations that are out there that are talking about AI. There are new industry standards that are coming out every month. There's pressure in that regulatory front. You see this in the consumer space especially. Folks, I think we all know there's this overarching sense among many that AI is dangerous or that it's going to do things that are bad. And I think especially now, more than ever, we have to prove that the AI at the company is trustworthy. And to do that, we obviously have to obey the law, but we also have to make sure that we're building that trust time over time, case over case. The first time someone sees something that strikes them as not good, they're gonna be turned off. And so we wanna nip that in the bud. We wanna make sure as we roll it out, the way we rolled it out at Cognizant and the way that you roll it out at your organizations or you roll it out for your customers, that you're doing it in a responsible way. And that really does enable you to have a true business opportunity. So we at Cognizant want to be we always describe ourselves as customer zero. I say that we drink our own champagne. We want to lead the way in a responsible AI framework, and we want to make sure that from both an accreditation perspective and when we're talking to our customers, that they know we're building systems that are going to be safe and trustworthy. And the proof is in the pudding. The folks who work every day at Cognizant can see it in the way we've rolled it out, and our clients can see it in the way that we've helped them roll it out. So I'm here to talk about our own story before turning it over to Manpreet. We took things in an interesting way, and I'm not going to read all the words on this slide. What I'm going to say is we started several years ago, and Cognizant has a series of internal stage gates that we had to go through, whether it was our corporate security team, our legal team, the tens of worker councils across the globe. Because we are a global business with 350,000 plus employees, we really had to dot every I and cross every T, and that started from the beginning, back in October or so of 2023. Even when we were rolling it out as a proof of concept. You can see here we now have over 110,000 people using Copilot Chat, the version that's included in E3. We have over 110,000 folks using that every month today. We wouldn't have that many using that product unless we had established trust. And that trust starts in individual interactions. It starts with how we rolled out Microsoft 365 Copilot. So when we bought our first tranche of 300 licenses, we spread that across everyone, every part of the business. It wasn't an IT discussion. It was our head of HR. It was our head of marketing. It was our head of each business line. From that 300, we went out and we bought 25,000 licenses. And again, we didn't do it to everyone in IT. What we said was, if you're at the associate director level and above, you get a license of Microsoft 365 Copilot. So all of our senior leaders at the organization, from the CEO down to that 80+ level, that was around 11,000 people or so, got a license for Microsoft 365 Copilot. There was another 1,000 or so folks who were in that group who didn't get a license because their worker council country had not yet approved it. And so we wanted to make sure, as we were doing the deployment, we were making sure that we not only obeyed the law, but also addressed the questions and concerns from across the globe for when this tool was being rolled out. So in addition to those 12,000 or so folks, we also allowed 13,000 people below the senior manager level to get access to M365 Copilot. And we use self-service for a lot of those folks. Now we expanded another 3,000 licenses a month or so ago, and so we are continuing to expand our use of the paid Microsoft 365 Copilot on top of the hundreds of thousands of folks using the free version every month. One of those stage gates that we went through was also getting approval for Copilot Studio and agents like Copilot for Sales and Copilot for Service and Copilot for Finance. So every time we rolled out a new product, we went back to those same stakeholders, to corporate security, to legal, to all of the worker councils, and it took a while to get everybody to say yes to it. But we were able to work through that process. And right now, when we rolled out Copilot agents, again, we took a measured approach. We said what we're going to do is we're going to let everyone who has a license of Microsoft 365 Copilot get access to Copilot Studio Lite. So out of the box, if you want to build an agent that supports you and the 4 people on your team, and you have M365 Copilot, go to town. That's fine. Go off and do that. Go off and build those simple, easy-to-use declarative agents, because those agents don't have a different risk profile than our existing SharePoint and Teams and Viva Engage environment. So we didn't have to worry too much about those folks. To get access to Copilot Studio Full, we said, look, we're gonna make you go through another process. We're not gonna charge you any more money, but you're gonna put in a request and you're gonna say exactly what you're trying to do, precisely because we wanted to encourage people to develop more complex agents, but we wanted to do it in a responsible manner, and we wanted to make sure that we were using the controls that existed in the Power Platform at the time to know where those agents are. Now, I'll say, from having seen all of the amazing stuff at Ignite so far, Agent 365, those levels of control are going to be very empowering to see the universe of your digital estate when it comes to Copilot agents. So we were early. It's great to see if you hadn't moved yet, you are going to be in a much stronger, easier, quicker position to adopt, to see really how those agents are coming out. So a quick timeline, just so everyone knows where we did it, how long it took for us to do this. Every week, we're getting hundreds of folks more M365 Copilot licenses. We're taking an organic approach, and so the way that it works at Cognizant is we do chargeback for everyone who wants that higher license. They got to fill out a form, and their project gets charged back the $30 or so per person per month tied to it, which means that we're not having to expend a lot of capital on that. It's going back to the parts of the business that need it. And everyone who's been trained on Copilot Chat on the free version is in a much stronger position to start to adopt the higher value, because they're already using Copilot Chat inside of Word and PowerPoint and Outlook and Teams. They know what they want. And when they want those higher level capabilities, they can make a stronger business case because they've already been trained on the existing product. So that's how we did it at Cognizant. I will be happy to take some questions later, but I do want to introduce my colleague Manpreet next to come up and talk about how we're helping our clients do the same thing inside their organization.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So after we becoming a customer zero, we rolled out Copilot, M365 Copilot in our own. We had our own blogs. And every innovation across the Microsoft 365 or in the world, you will know if there are validations which are required from security endpoint, legal endpoint, business endpoint, geography endpoint. Yeah, but it doesn't stop there, right? Like we started rolling them out. We were happy. We finished those roadblocks. We had our checklist. Now it was time to meet the clients, right? Clients had their own journeys. They're like, we are waiting as customer zero. We want to see what you did, how you did, and we want to adopt it because we just did not receive a way of handling them by assigning them Copilot licenses to all their end users. It's as simple as going to the Microsoft Admin Center and going and searching for a Copilot license, and you will feel, once I assign that license, my work is done. It's not. Companies, they come to us and they tell us, hey, we have deployed 10,000 licenses to our users. I don't see them using it. Our analytics are very low. Or I see the IT people are getting crazier because they're getting thousands of agents to get published on Teams. And IT is like, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do with 10,000 agents coming up on Teams. And should I publish them or should I wait for them? Should I allow? The integration endpoints, these were all their issues, right? The third-party integration, ServiceNow, Workday, Confluence, they all come up as packages, and we come to these sessions here in the conferences. We see something really fascinating, and I was just talking to my gentleman next to me. Like it's very easy to come up here at a conference, and you see it's very quick to easily publish an agent. You go to an agent, you bring your knowledge sources, and you publish on Teams, and voila, the whole company in my 100K people are using my agent. The answer is no, it does not work like that. Even publishing it through the Teams, through Copilot Studio, there are DLP policies, purview policies. You need to validate your governance, your tenant environments, where the blocks are happening. There used to be a time when we used to build agents for the client. It used to take 90 seconds. I had a stopwatch. I was waiting for the client to see when the response comes back. She typed something, and I was waiting for the response. It took 90 seconds for it to come back. Here is your policy for your vacation, how to apply for a leave. Because there were DLP policies, purview, and client was not ready. Like the last year, they were not ready. The rolling out of public domains, Copilot, Power Platform gateway connectors, no longer an access to admin centers. It was just Copilot Studio coming up, and people were building agents out of agents. So those learnings from us as Cognizant, and then we working with all our clients, various verticals from life sciences, healthcare, insurance, manufacturing, we understood their requirement. We understood their blockades, where they're getting blocked. Now, if somebody tells me, Manpreet, I'm not able to deploy Teams, I'm clicking on publish, it's not even notifying to my Teams administrator, I know the issue, right? So that's where the journey happened, and that was our process. And then we thought, why not put it all our learnings, all our tips and tricks inside a framework? And that's where the Cognizant bring in the enterprise launchpad for Copilot. The name is a launchpad because I always still feel many of our organizations are not really using the capacity of Copilot or M365 throughout their application, throughout their processes. We're very still limited to Outlook, recording meetings and getting those notes from our calendars. It's still very limited. The ideal way of doing agentic solution is to scale them, bring them to your doorstep of every end user. The persona mapping, the governance, all should come as one umbrella, and that's where this offering comes in. Adoption, right? We all talk about adopting, hey, we all should use AI, we all should use agents for our day-to-day activity, day-to-day processes, but no one talks about why, right? If, for example, I'm in IT, I understand how M365 Copilot works, but I give an agent to a sales guy who is in a showroom selling a car to me, and I'm like, hey, use Copilot, it will improve your employee experience. How will that salesperson in that showroom require or want to know how it adapts, right? That's where the adoption comes in picture. You need to go to that training module for persona mapping, role mapping, the designation, the department-wise. Make sure you are rolling out those personas training and day in a learn or lunch sessions or champions training, which we did in Cognizant, and that's why our adoptions are very high. And based on our learnings, we prepared those curriculum for you to see how you can increase adoption. And those customers who came to us, that we have been paying 10,000 licenses from last 4 months, and there's hardly 6 or 7 people using in our analytics in Viva dashboards. They started seeing the change because now you're helping, you're hand-holding everyone in the organization, empowering them to use agent, not just giving them and making them capable, but you're actually helping them adopting in real sense. Next comes is governance. We all talk about governance, but the right set of governance are still an issue. As I was talking about the 90-second example, what happened there is, right? There are DLP purview policies, and there is a SEM system, SharePoint Advanced Management, right? The new SAM. These needs to be configured before you roll out Copilot 365. There was a client, and he was a CIO, and we were like, Manpreet, I can show you one thing which I just saw. He was able to type, can you give me details of a salary slip of some person? Because it was all exposed, the PHI, the label policies were missing, the data actually showed up on the Copilot chat. So those things are dangerous. Even now, with people who are trying to adopt Copilot, they're still struggling, and they're trying to see how we can fix those governance. You don't have to start from the scratch. We have that checklist. Take it from us and use that. Make sure you're locking down your governance, your purview, and not adding thousands of DLP policies, which that other client was doing. They had a policy for everything, so the responses were 90 seconds slow. Then comes the transformation layer, right? People come to us, they're like, I'm from banking, I'm from manufacturing. What are my use cases? What should I do to reduce effort? I want to make sure my team, my people are able to get a better employee experience, that agentic employee experience. How can I scale that? What are the use cases? How can the compliance team get a help? How my HR team can help? How the employee onboarding or agent can be a process rather than starting off it. That's where we come in and we help you governing those, making those use cases for you. I think I'm wearing a magnet. I had come and talk to me about use cases. We have a list of use cases which we built for various verticals, and I'm very happy to announce this year we have built so many other use cases because Microsoft 365 as a Copilot platform, it provides you capability as an agentic AI, but it does not do as your domain knowledge, right? For example, if I want to order a laptop, I have to go and ask Copilot M365, hey, I want to order a laptop. It won't tell me how to order a laptop. It will tell me, all right, to order a laptop, there might be a PDF. It will find me a PDF from SharePoint. Hey, this is the PDF. But now we are doing those process automation. We are doing those autonomous agents, which will do things for you. And then comes my favorite, extensibility. Why to limit Copilot to only M365? And Microsoft and Satya Nadella, he always said, Copilot should be the UI for AI. That's what we did. This year, we made it actually the UI for AI for so many corporations where they are calling Salesforce agent, ServiceNow agent, Workday agent, Confluence, on-prem data sources, their own FTP data sources, all through one single endpoint, which is their M365 Copilot on Teams. Last year, when multi-agent was still new and people were adopting, I had a very nice client. What they did was they built 40 agents, okay? The number was very important for them. They had a 40-agent gallery, all on Teams, deployed agent, all built on Copilot Studio, totally perfect. And they created a web page where they listed all those 40 agents that, hey, end user, come and choose your agent. You want something to expense report? Click here. If you want something on your leave, click here. Those multi-agent now is just one agent is what you require. And I always tell clients, don't go for multiple agents. You don't require one. With the multi-agent capability, you can extend way beyond using your M365 Copilot or even standalone Copilot. And lastly, the agentic AI. Right now, if you saw a demo with Work IQ and Dynamics IQ coming in the picture, you are not going to be limited to only agents or chatting agent or voice agent. There will be autonomous agents which are coming in. Just for an example, I'll give you, we all send an email when we need something from a help desk, right? Hey, help desk, I'm stuck, I need access to this SharePoint site. There's an agent which listens to your email and replies you back, hey, Manpreet, all right, I got it. I see you should have access to it. Let me confirm it to your manager, and I'll come back to you. It sends a Teams message to my manager. Hey, Manpreet is requesting an access to the procurement SharePoint site. Grant, deny. He he or she just clicks on that button, and I get an access message, hey, your access is granted. And similarly, last year, we used to just go and file a ticket on ServiceNow, need access on SharePoint, ticket number, getting assigned to a SharePoint team. It was a big process. Right? Another quick example, I ordered a new laptop. I just received it. I was just boasting about it. It has 64 GB RAM, etc., etc. I had to just go to our own Cognizant portal, just ask for, hey, I need a new laptop. A form pulls in, I just goes in, I fill in my details, and I am all done. That's what's the integration endpoint. And I have a quick video also to showcase that. Those endpoints is what we built with clients, connecting to the Salesforce data. Investment firms, banking, they have the data structure on SAP Salesforce. We don't ask them to bring their data here in M365 Search or Copilot. You can keep your data in the same source provider. We, as Copilot Studio connectors, or if it's not there in Power Automate Gallery, which is 1400, don't worry, we will create those connectors with you with custom APIs and then consume that as your Copilot. Because our goal is simple. Copilot should be the UI for AI. You don't need a multiple agent. And now with integrating Azure AI Search, your Claude models, everything coming inside Copilot Studio, you're able to extend way beyond than we were able to do it. With multi-agent capability, the orchestration choosing layer, reasoning modeling coming in, you have a very much layer end-to-end in your hand. And this does not restrict to your company, vertical, yeah, I'm from healthcare, what I can do, or I'm from life sciences, what I can do. They all can adopt these capabilities throughout the process. And if you see my demo, right, we are connected to ServiceNow. I'm able to apply for a leave on Workday, all in one single UI. I don't have multiple agents to do multiple purpose. I just come in, I ask, what's my day like today, submitting my timesheets, creating a ServiceNow ticket, escalating my ticket status, getting to change my password in Outlook. Everything can be done in just one endpoint, which is a UI. Now, it's debatable, do you really require M365 Copilot license? I can talk about after that, after the stage show, but you can always build standalone application. You can always go with Copilot Studio agents. You can always use the power of M365 Copilot, which is always there rather than starting from the scratch and calling those API emulators and building those custom agents on Azure and then trying to get the same capabilities, which you can get here in a week or two and bring all those connectors end-to-end in your system. And as I said, there is no limitation on the reuse cases. We are here today, we are here tomorrow, and even after the event, if you want to connect with us, we can give you the list of all your own domains, your own industries, what we do, how you can scale these agents throughout this process. And I always like to give you homework. Homework is very important when we speak at conferences. Go back home and you just log into copilotstudio.microsoft.com. Try to add a knowledge source of your own company. I work for Cognizant, you work for your companies. Add that and just try to ask questions related to that knowledge base. It is the first step of your agent building solution. Start with a knowledge hub, start with a policy hub, and then start scaling them. Bring your ERP, enterprise systems as one global platform system. And then you will see how growth happens, how people are trying to see and adoption increasing, transformation increasing. You get more use cases, and you will see the real value of employee experience improving through your agentic part of it. Now, so how can we help you? It's a quick liners, but we want to actually hear you today, where you are, what journey you are, where are you stuck? Probably we'll have an answer right away, or else we can meet next week. But
yeah, I mean, we're happy to help everyone here on their journey wherever they are. One of the things that I found really useful, and I have some of my colleagues here as well, when we've talked to clients, they've said, well, this sounds great, but what is Microsoft not telling us? Like, what are some of those pain points? Because, man, like you said earlier, we bought 10,000 licenses, and then our usage was really low, and we didn't see the uptake. And when we started, because we started so early, it was not as nice as it is now today deploying. There was not this great solution that we could just pre-bake. We had to learn a lot of these lessons the hard way. But one thing that I think is important for us all to recognize is that everyone has a bias towards the tools they use. And we saw this really early on in the whole Gen AI landscape. People could be convinced to use one new tool, maybe two, but you ask them to use 3 different tools, and they would say, no, I'm not doing that. And when I say tool, I mean even something as simple as going to a different website. The fact that Copilot Chat lives in Outlook and Teams and Word and PowerPoint is such a much easier solution, because you're not asking, if that person lives every day in Outlook and Word, telling them go to this other website and talk to this chatbot, they're not going to want to do that. And even if doing so saves them a lot of time, after a week they'll go back to just living in Outlook and Word. And so what we found was, by bringing our solutions in to the Copilot Chat interface, by bringing agents in to Copilot Chat, we were able to make folks much more productive, much more quickly. And that helps you maximize the value. You don't want to find out about that 6 months later, a year later. So I'm not going to keep talking, but I will say, when folks have questions, feel free to ask any question about it.
And that's where you come to the real maturity model of an AI in your company. Like, we, even as Cognizant, we started small with 300 licenses. Now we have thousands of licenses. This started with a journey. None of the companies here would say we are a Gen AI already empowered company, because there's so many changes happening each day. Microsoft, after we are reaching home, I think there'll be a new announcement. Hey, new branded IQ or product is announced, right? The growth is so high that we have to adopt very quickly. And what better than the customer zero who have already done it? And our relationship with Microsoft, you need help on the engineering side, partnership side, we're always there for you. But please, 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 I always request people, until you start, you won't win the race, right? Like, you need to start. You start building a quick small agent. Allow people to use at least Copilot Chat. It's free of cost. Let them have that enablement of empowering themselves in the organization, that they can use Agentic AI. Yesterday, I met someone at the booth, and it was a nice gesture. He said, I was just asking, how many people do you have Copilot licenses in your company? He said, everyone. I don't know, that's nice. I have never seen anyone providing everyone license, because it's expensive, right? It's $30 license. But he's like, we want to make sure we are not discriminating digitally with our own salespeople. We want everybody to be enabled and empowered in using the Agentic AI or the modern technologies. And that was the fantastic answer. I think I'm going to use that for 1 more year. But that was a real person, real client who came yesterday to our booth and saying that those words were, that's what we require. We want to make sure we share our own stories. You tell our problems, we'll help you fix them, and then we're here for that, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, one final point before we transition to questions. You mentioned DLP policies creating some problems in surfacing information. Yeah. We've seen a lot of customers who for years have paid lip service to adoption and change management techniques. Yeah. They say, well, it's just the new version of Office. Who cares? Like, roll it out. People will, the smart people will figure it out, and everyone else can move it on. And when M365 Copilot came out, we saw lots of clients say, hey, I want to go build my own custom LLM. I want to have a custom orchestrator. That Copilot thing, that's just the next version of Office. Who cares about that? And those organizations that spent no money on adoption and change management saw no increase in usage, because you have to train people on what these tools do. And at a lot of organizations, that muscle of, oh, there's a new thing that's going to change every month, at a minimum every month. If I log into Excel and a month later it looks different, and I don't know that there's a new button that says Copilot up there, and I don't know what happens when I click it, and I definitely don't know what happens when I hit Skills or Copilot Agent, I'm not going to use it. And so you need to have some mechanism in your organization. We did this at Cognizant for the first time. We did not have, prior to our Copilot launch, a way to roll out. We had the technical way, and we were doing it. We just weren't telling people, hey, you're going to get these bits first. You're going to be on the hook. You're going to be a Copilot champion, which means you have 200 people, 300 people that we're going to measure you against. We're going to ask, how good is the utilization of your cohort? And if the answer is doing poorly, well, we're going to train you on what you need to do to get that more effective training in front of you. And we really need to guide. We got to spoon feed them, because folks in the organization are doing this mostly in a volunteer manner. You know, it's great if you pay us to help you, and we're happy to help you.
And we still run them, by the way, right?
Oh
Those
yeah,
trainings, those
every
sessions
week,
are still
every
running.
week. You know,
Yeah.
and it's twice. Yeah, we have 2 different time zones because we're a global organization. Folks watch the videos, but it's something that you can't just come in and do for like a week and then walk away, because it's not going to work. All the stuff that got announced here, when that change filters into their Microsoft 365 apps, someone's going to have to tell them that oh, these things have changed. So
it's just for example, exactly the same thing. There's a client, they said like we hire trainers and we train our whole company, and it's been 8 months. And I was like, when did you last train them? Like, that was 8 months ago. So because everything changed. Every day there's a new change. Every time I open Copilot Studio, hopefully there's no other change today, right? When I'm doing a demo, but something might have changed in there, right? So the change is happening. You have to make sure, and Reed is running those programs even until now from 2023. You meet bi-weekly and showcase what are the new features, what's new coming in, what you're going to see, how you can do it, how-to guides.
Those could be agents. I mean, when the facilitator agent was launched, when researcher and analyst were launched, we had people at Cognizant that were trying to build with Copilot Studio the capabilities that are in analyst. As soon as it was launched, we said, stop, don't do that. Like, just use the out of the box, and telling people, hey, use the first party agents for the easiest amount of business value and the lowest amount of technical debt. You got to tell people to do that. Otherwise, they could sit there for 2 weeks trying to code some sort of thing that Microsoft already built. There's no reason to do it yourself.
And that's why we're here to present this launchpad with you. So if you have any questions, the mic is right here. Please come and speak on the mic, because I think they're recording live. If not, thank you so much for coming in today.
But we're happy to take questions.
Yeah, we're happy to take your questions.
Just grab a mic and we'll answer it, no matter how embarrassing.
Thank you so much.
Hey, how have you addressed staffing levels for your IT in training people? Because when I've assigned staff to do this, it's staff that already have IT jobs. So now they have to learn the HR's job to help them do Copilot. And they can't come back to their job because now HR needs them to.
So the one thing that IT told us when we rolled out Copilot, and this was back in 2023, was they said there could be 0 tickets related to Copilot. We had to build a knowledge management, a community that would self-service questions about Copilot, because there was a cost. They knew if they rolled out Copilot to 28,000 people or 100,000 folks using the free one, and tickets went up by 10,000, that was a real cost. And they said, we cannot take that cost. You will have to build a community. We started with the Teams COE. We later shifted because it was too big for Teams to a Viva Engage community. And that community is responsible for issues. And that community is made of volunteers from across the organization, specifically to make sure that IT is not on the hook for that question. If there's I need a new laptop, IT should deal with that. If it's, I typed this wacky prompt into Copilot and it gave me this weird response, that's what the community had to do. And so we had to build that muscle, but we did it and executed, and we can help you do it.
How did you handle redundant, obsolete, and trivial data? The problem with prompts.
You're saying, like, how do we handle bad data that they were getting back into the system, like it didn't answer them correctly?
Yeah, like old data or duplicates, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So Cognizant already had a pretty aggressive policy on team site construction related to the retaining of files. And so, if anything, we were, although our IT team was very concerned about oversharing at the beginning, that didn't really exist. We've been very aggressive about removing people from teams after a particular time, deleting that data after a number of months. And so because of that, I think people were worried about that occurring more than it actually happened. And the only way to prove that is, of course, to deploy Copilot and let people use it. What we saw that was a bigger challenge was less people typing in prompts and getting older, obsolete data, and more folks acting like Copilot was a magic wand. They would go to Copilot and they would say, hey, I'm taking off on vacation in 3 weeks, book my time in Outlook. And although M365 Copilot has access to the graph, at the time, it was not able to do that. And so they would be frustrated because they would say, well, I don't understand. I thought you said this connected to my email. And the answer was, it does, but it doesn't do that capability yet. And we've seen this now with agents, where if you have a very senior member of your team, it's very trivial for them to go to that Copilot Studio prompt and type in a sentence and say, hey, I've got a business process where I do this, then it goes to Manpreet for escalation, then it goes to Christine, and then it does this and this and this. And they spend 20 minutes typing in a War and Peace into the prompt and say, create. And Copilot's like, I can't do that. It's just too vague. And so we've seen a bigger problem there where people are giving it very generic, high-level overviews of a business process rather than being able to narrowly focus it. And again, the solution to that is mostly education, because as we get better at doing it, I don't know if you guys saw the new workflows frontier agent that Jared Spataro was showing. I think he showed it in the keynote for a second, but that's what people were wanting, was this kind of magic wand of, let me generically, when you say it's low code, everyone's like, oh, this is low code. And then they see a Power Automate set of triggers and they go, wait, this is code. And you're like, no, it's not actually code. They need a low code solution. That's what Workflows does. And we think that's going to be very powerful, but you got to tell people, hey, fire up the Workflows agent. And telling them to do it that way, telling people to use Copilot Studio Lite rather than Copilot Studio Full. Like every week people were asking me, well, I'm in Copilot Studio, why doesn't it work? And I would go, okay, it says Copilot Studio, but actually that's Copilot Studio Lite, and yeah, that doesn't talk to the other Copilot Studio. So there's a lot of education that has to go on, and I'm sure a year from now, Microsoft will have fixed some of those issues, but for now, it means you need to have a community that's on call, or a Teams chat, or a Viva Engage site. The new Viva Engage capability to use auto answering with Copilot, super good at that. Do that, because then when someone asks the same question for the 50th time in a row, you've got an automatic response that comes in there that you didn't have to do. Other questions?
Sure. Hey, so how are you as an organization prevent user to expose any credential or PA data in the Copilot?
Yeah, so we're 100% leveraging the existing controls that we have around PII and sensitive data. And so that was one of the things that we went through at the very beginning, was folks were concerned that Copilot would change our position. And in reality, all the way up through Copilot Studio Lite, all of our existing IT controls we didn't have to touch at all. It took longer, honestly, for us to get approval of it than to do it. But some of that is also, I think, a concern of, I know they say it does it, but let me validate this. And so we've also had our IT team, and some of our clients have said, well, I want to red team this. Yeah. I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna look for this data. I'm gonna go look for the salary of the CEO. And I always say two things. One, if you can find the salary of the CEO with Copilot, you could find it with SharePoint before. So it's not that Copilot is exposing something that is not already incorrect. That barn door is already open. The horse is already left. If that is the case, but if you have a red team or a team come in to do that validation, or you use SAM, you can earn that trust and earn that confidence that you're not violating any of those standards or regulations.
Yeah, the SAM part in your admin center will really help you, the search administrator. People don't configure them. It's very easy. It will hardly take you like a couple of hours. Set up those policies, set up your content, and then you can allow end users to, because in short, you might have already disabled through your DLP policies and purview for people to not share SSN, not share purview policies or date of birth and salary slip already, right? Not everybody does that, but people who have already done it, so same policies get applied. That's the benefit of M365. It brings in the same exact label policy, sensitive labels, PHIs, labels, all as part of your administrator.
That's why Agent 365 is such a big announcement. Yeah. I know they didn't talk about the price of it yet, but the mental concept of how do I protect this data? Yeah. The same controls that you're using to protect PII, for us humans, emailing people around. You want agents to have exactly that same level of control. You don't want to rebuild a whole different set of controls. And Agent 365 is going to let you treat any agent like an individual on your team, like a regular Entra ID identity. And that means the controls that you built to prevent that from occurring with humans are going to work for your agents without you having to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sure.
And just wanted to add, that in custom agents, it works a little different. There was an end user, they were like, Manpreet, if I type, hey agent, this is my SSN number, whatever my SSN number is, right? It will show you, right, while you're typing into the agent. They even wanted to lock it down. So there are some tools which we built in. Even if you write an agent understand you wrote SSN, it will immediately encrypt it. You won't be able to see it. It won't even save it in the backend in your user mailbox history, and Copilot will immediately remove it from the whole platform or system. So the small platform, and these are all in Power Automate, these plugins. You can use the Copilot Studio test kits. It's a studio kit which comes in App Stores. It's free of cost. Configure those agents there, and you'll be able to even lock them down in custom agent as well as in M365. Yeah.
Or pay us to do it.
We won't charge you a lot. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Have you had, going to Ignite last year and this year, the capabilities are like vastly different, right? Have you had anything break, any processes you've put in place because of updates or changes? That's another thing we've been concerned about in our teams.
Yeah, so historically, Cognizant had a very conservative position on updates in general. And so almost every device was on a pretty slow update path. Almost every set of Microsoft 365 apps was on semi-annual channel at best. I mean, we had people running around that were using Office 2018 or something. And so when we rolled out Copilot, one of those first things was originally to get M365 Copilot, you needed to be on current channel originally. And so we built a muscle to say, we're going to build these rings, we're going to move people into these channels, and we're going to create the same community that evangelizes and talks about the new updates for Copilot will be the same group of people who tell you, oh, this came out in the beta channel in PowerPoint. You're going to see it in 4 weeks, and it's going to go broadly 2 weeks after that. And so we had to build the community and build the rings and channels to be able to do all of that in order to get Copilot to work. The net result of that wasn't that an update broke anything. It was that we discovered that even though we've built this great adoption and change management group, that still Cognizant has 350,000 people. There are lots of people who, just because you told 40 people who told 4,000 people in a meeting last week, they didn't see that. They weren't in that meeting. They didn't watch the video, and so they're looking at Teams, and Teams has a new sharing function, and they go, well, why did this looks different? Why did no one tell me about this? So it was less things breaking and more just people coming to us and saying, hey, I'm running into trouble with X, and us having to say, oh, did you know that you could use Researcher to do this? And they would go, I don't know what Researcher is. And you would have to show them that. And so that we ran into much more of that than people saying, oh, my Office apps are broken because you guys put me on this advanced channel or what have you. And still, there are people at Cognizant who are on older versions of Office even today. I mean, we make so many acquisitions. Yeah. It's interesting that acquisition process and bringing non-integrated businesses into your organization, it used to be that those non-integrated businesses were ahead of Cognizant. Now that we've moved up so much, we're ahead of them, and we're having to say, yeah, you guys have Copilot, but until we get access to your devices and we can, move you to a more faster channel, it's not going to work.
Yeah. And as your question, I think we also receive few emails. Hey, come back from Ignite and tell us what to enable and what to disable, right? So yeah, we have a huge user test base, right? Like we'll make our own testing.
Yeah, we can tell you what breaks.
We'll validate it, what breaks up, and we'll let Microsoft know. There were so many issues, known issues. Like remember when Copilot Studio came in, right? It was GPT-4, 30 seconds, 20 seconds from agent to talk back. We sat with the engineering team, made sure we encountered those videos, those structures, those API calls, trace logs, and captured and gave it to them. These are the real things which are happening in the real. So yeah, we will validate them, and then we come and bring that as a package. Until we validate, we are not happy, we don't take it to the client.
So we're about to be cut off. Any last questions?
Yeah.
Okay, last question. You got 30 seconds. Go.
Real quick, we're early in our adoption. and trying to figure out who do you identify as like the best pilot users. And you had said you had like a senior leadership kind of push first, and our senior leadership is not necessarily our generally tech-heavy users. So like, how do you identify those people? And sometimes the younger user, the more junior users can be our best adopters and evangelists. So what did you guys do for that?
I still say senior leaders are great because if you can't prove the value to a senior...
Sorry to interrupt you. Before that, thank you everyone who's watching us. Yes. We'll be signing off at 7 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And then we'll answer.
We'll answer your question.
Thank you, everybody.